Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. My name is Wayne Supernova. In the last episode, we were going through a summation examination, and we never finished it, so that's what we're doing this time. Hopefully, getting something else to use in our arsenal to prove Gina's innocence. And if I can do that, we might just turn the situation to our favor still. Thank you, Counsel. Continue with the summation examination. I kindly hand that new photographic print to the bailiff to be filed as evidence. Ah, yes. Yes. Another print in the court record. I wonder if we can make use of that. We can actually make use of that. We are going to... probably, I think, press this guy so that we can show him. Can it really show up new clues, though? I don't know unless you try. How about this print here? It should do the trick, I think. So, give him the first one.
Take that!
Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any two suitable photographic prints?
Of course I can.
Very well then, I'd like you to demonstrate. I'd be delighted to.
Just give me one more print and I'll amaze you all.
Alright, then take this one.
Take that!
Alright, so this should do something, hopefully. Alright, these two prints were both taken with the same camera in Windbanks on the night in question.
Yes, I see. Tell me, Mr. Lawyer, do you know how stereographic images work? Do you understand the principle?
Please, don't give me another explanation of this. Well, I think so. I did have a lesson only yesterday. The left and the right eye images need to be the same, only with a slight shift in the positions of some objects. Then, when your brain merges the two images together inside your head, it notices the shift as if it were depth.
Yes, exactly. It's that small shift between certain objects in the two pictures that's really important.
So, what happens if you use two photographs that are exactly the same then?
No, obviously that wouldn't work at all. Not for seeing the scene three-dimensionally anyway. Oh! Of course, now I see. I think the young girl has discovered the secret. I have!
With her cross eyes. Can you uncross your eyes before you tell me?
Oh, have another look at these two pictures from Hurley's camera, Runo. Go on.
Oh god, am I gonna be forced to do it mentally?
Can you see that there's a really obvious difference between them?
Well, yeah, Gina and Windabank aren't in there. What else is there? I can't tell. Oh, I see it. It's that it's the lamp. It's broken. Of course there is. There are two people in the first and no people in the second.
Well, yes, you can see that straight away. But now, try looking at the pictures in 3 dimensions.
All right, I'll give it a go. See, I noticed that glass on the ground in front of the counter earlier, but I wasn't actually able to enter it as evidence into the thing. I always thought that was weird. It's like, there's broken glass on the ground at your feet. I feel like that might be something worth noticing. I didn't notice that the lamp was broken though. So to start with, you have to cross your eyes and then try to make the two pictures overlap exactly. Let's see if by crossing my eyes I can make the quill pins from each picture overlap in the middle. Well, I'm not looking at this dead on my screen either, so that makes it even more difficult because I'm pretty sure you have to look at it straight on, just head on. But the way that my setup is, I've got my computer, my laptop, and my microphone sitting on a computer sort of lap plate on my bed as I sit off to the side of my bed talking into the microphone, and the TV is like dead in front of the bed. So yeah, this is not gonna work for me if I have to just look at it dead on. and actually do it myself in order to find something weird. Wait.
Well, did you manage to see it properly, Bruno?
I did see that the lamp was broken, and I'm gonna guess that's what this is. What's going on with these two pictures? Oh. Some of the things on the counter sort of jump out at you. He's got a whole device on his face right there.
Yes, that's it, you see. That's the other amazing power of stereoscopes.
Other amazing power?
Is someone going to explain this black magic, eh? Why the deuce do some of the things on the counter seem to jump out at you like that,
I think you'll find that if you consider the basic principle of the stereoscope, you'll answer your own question.
It would be that they were moved, right? If they were moved slightly, then that means that they would jump out at you. Otherwise, it wouldn't jump out at you. Basic principles of the stereoscope.
As I said before, if you try to look at two identical pictures using a stereoscope, it won't work at all. It's the slight shift in the positions of certain objects that lets you see pictures three-dimensionally.
In other words, even though at first glance it seems the objects on the counter haven't moved at all between the two pictures, this shows that actually there must have been a slight shift in their positions.
Yes, there must have been.
Interesting.
Now hold fire there, sir. Got a reasonable grasp of this whole cross-eyed business now, I'd say. But why the devil does this shift between the two prints exist in the first place? Well, what's the answer, fellow? Come on, you're the cross-eyed master.
What, me? I haven't the first idea.
You know, Bruno, it's quite simple.
It is?
Just think it through step by step. The first photograph was taken at 1 a.m. Then, 30 minutes later, the second photograph was taken. But the position of some items on the counter appears to have shifted slightly in the interim.
So that means... That means that sometime in the half-hour interval, someone must have tampered with the things on the counter.
Zookers!
Someone tampered? New information. Stop. Not mentioned in testimony so far. Stop. Yes. We've had to go around in circles a little here, it seems. But I'm starting to see what I should be aiming at in this summation examination now. Ladies and gentlemen, the question now is clear. We know the items on the countertop were moved, but by whom?
Are you suggesting you might know?
Of course. I can tell you right now who is responsible for the almost imperceptible shift on the items on the counter. I would guess it would be these two. I mean, I don't know who I pick. I'm gonna actually save real quick, just to make sure, because that's who I would expect to go ratting around, because Gina was there for one specific item, and that was in the back room. She went back there with Mr. Windibank. Windibank couldn't have had time to mess with that stuff on the counter. It would have had to have been these two.
Take that!
It was the witness currently in the stand, the Skulkin Brothers.
Wait. This does not agree with what brother said in testimony before.
They said they did not even have time to pull dukes from Lucy Lockets. My phrase book says dukes is meaning hands, and Lucy Lockets is meaning pockets.
But is this another lie? Is this what you are saying?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Now hold there a minute. You can't be sure of that.
I quite agree. The accused is a common pick purse after all. It's perfectly possible that she went through the things on the desk to see what she might steal.
I think that's unlikely.
And why exactly?
As you can see from this photographic print, the defendant was pointing a gun at the victim. It would seem, as my learned friend indicated, that she was coercing Mr. Windibank to open the storeroom door. In other words, Miss Lestrade's interests lay within the storeroom, not in the main shop, giving her no reason to touch anything on the counter. All of which points to one thing. The Skulkin Brothers have omitted key facts in their testimony.
But the accused is a pickpocket, common gutter trash. Why look any further for the wrongdoer here?
Because the Skulkin Brothers are thieves, madam. No better, in fact worse, than a pickpurse. I believe that these brothers were looking for something on the victim's counter that night. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would condemn the defendant on the grounds that she's a pickpocket, would it not at least be right and proper to thoroughly scrutinize testimony given against her by two thieves?
Well said. I, for one, would like to hear more from that shady pair.
There's two. Well, he did it with his head because he doesn't want to touch anything with his gloves. That's outstanding.
Can you all see now? I think you'll find stereoscopes aren't playthings. You've seen their extraordinary potential firsthand.
Ooh, we're even. One more? Question mark?
Wholeheartedly agree. Stop. Most purchase after trial. Stop. We'll return home via Regent Street. Stop.
Oh, we got it. Nice. Alright, the trial will continue. We've cleared the first hurdle.
Well, it would seem this trial has yet to run its course. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have declared their inclinations via the mighty scales of justice. I hereby call the summation examination to conclusion with the balance altered in the defendant's favor. Two lean to guilty, 4 lean to not guilty. Accordingly, the jury is without consensus. And I order this trial to continue.
Yay, well done. Oh, by the way.
What?
You should hold on to this, Runa. You never know when it might come in useful.
Twice in one trial would be unusual, surely, but alright. The stereoscope has been entered into the court record. So basically, I'm on hard mode here because I'm gonna have to find the difference between two images instead of, you know, just being able to go cross-eyed and figuring out what jumps out at me. That sucks.
Lord Van Jinks, you will instruct the witnesses that the court demands additional testimony from them.
I'm sure it won't spoil the bouquet to do so, my lord. Hey, we did it. Let's go. I've won myself another chance to probe that pair about their activities that night at least. I won't stop probing them until I've proven that Gina is innocent. Well, here's the thing. I don't think that they did it either. It would be awfully weird for those two to be the ones who did it. I think it might have been someone else. Someone more affiliated with Mr. Magnus McGilded. But we'll have to see. Let's see what we can get out of these Skulkin Brothers. And what terrible things they're gonna do to poor Greg. Oh, sorry, I skipped that line.
Order, please. Let us resume proceedings. Witness, you will now retake the stand.
Uh-oh. I actually really like the Skulkin Brothers' designs. I think they are pretty good for a comedy duo.
I presume you heard the defense counsel's summation examination?
Oh, yeah, Governor.
I did, Gov, I did.
Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. It's so weird to say it like that.
Call, blimey.
This is going to be hard work. Earlier in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Windibanks.
Well, it was bedlam soon as, weren't it?
It was, Dash, it was. Didn't even have the time to pull me dukes out me Lucy Lockets.
However, that was a lie. You brothers.
Call, blimey.
On the night in question, you rifled through the items on the victim's counter.
We never done nothing of the sort. How'd you figure that out?
Well, already contradicted yourselves. Uh-oh.
You will now give formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time, you will tell the truth.
Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment.
Ooh, just crushing it in his hand this time.
And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again.
Ooh.
A thought worth pondering, perhaps.
Say no more, Gov. We hear ya.
We'll blab, we'll speak, we'll peach.
Illegal entry, the whole truth. So what do you got to tell us this time?
Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling her for nothing.
It was when we heard the gunshot, see? Made us both jump and all that stuff went flying.
Lummy, it didn't half give me a fright. We was thinking the shooter'd come out of the door and get his next.
We stuck everything back where we found it and scampered right into him in the back. Right into him in the black.
We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never even had a chance, had we? Did we?
Oof. Man, it's so hard to read their dialogue because they write it like it's got a British accent on it, so I'm not used to British accent, of course. Considering my Midwestern accent from the United States, man, yeah, that's one of the furthest things I feel like from a British accent.
So you admit to the defense's accusation? You didn't...
That's the wrong voice.
You did indeed ransack Mr. Winterbank's countertop on the night in question. Not ransack, Governor, no.
That's right, Ash, that's right. It's more like we tied it up, yeah.
That's exactly the opposite of what you just said in your testimony.
Sorry. By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their mess.
The way you say it, we hardly sound like roughs at all.
We don't, Nash, we don't. Can you make us sound a bit more cutthroat?
It can't just be coincidence that these men showed up at Windibank's that night. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it, too. Let's see if we can press them and get one of the other, or maybe even Gregsy to want to say something.
Hold it!
If that's the case, then why didn't you testify to that effect in the first place?
Well, you know, we ain't exactly squeaky clean, are we?
We ain't, Nash, we ain't. If we admitted to something like that, people would think we was up to no good.
Well said, Ringo. The old China. We'd only land ourselves in even more trouble.
And in fact now, as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what you've done. Landed yourselves in even more trouble.
That's rotten luck.
Says the rotten apple eater.
Witnesses, explain your actions to the court. Why did you ransack the victim's counter?
We never ransacked nothing.
Right, Ash, right. More like we tidied the place up.
Uh-oh. There's his glare.
Oh, sorry.
Hold it!
It went flying, huh? So what you're saying is, the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much you knocked all those things off the counter?
Well, it shocked one of us that much, yeah. This bag of nerves needs to learn to keep his shirt on.
Look, it was loud, all right. Blimey, me dead granny would have woken up at that bang.
Big bruv screamed like a bloomin' baby and fell over on the counter. He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull whatnot.
They got tangled in some marionette, what knocked over a picture frame, what knocked them scales off on the floor.
You've really mastered working quietly then.
What a racket. My granny would have been scared back into her grave at a clatter like that.
So in short, the gunshot took you by surprise.
And then some. I mean, it was quiet as a mouse, and then all of a sudden, BAM!
Oh. Jesus.
Excuse me!
That's got him riled up. Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add?
Like I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels.
No, something to add about their testimony?
You seemed to react just now at what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something?
It's probably nothing, of course. Wouldn't even bother to mention it, only... Well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details.
How about you just tell us what's on your mind?
As you know, we brought these fellas into the yard for questioning last night, and the statement they gave then told a slightly different story to what they're saying now.
Did it?
You claimed you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot. Might have, Gov, might have. Does ring a bell now you mention it. Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still. Can't help feeling like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, eh, fellas?
If I discovered the witness's testimony had been any more sloppy than it has hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them.
Easy, easy.
We'll get it right this time.
That's it. Yeah, it's all coming back to me now.
Then speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned to your questionable minds, sirs.
Heh.
Right you are, Gov.
Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun."
Hold it!
So in fact, you heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously?
We did, Gov. We did.
Although, I suppose if you're being honest, we heard kind of a wavering voice before the yell and all.
If you don't want to get shot,
Give me that gun!
Bam.
kind of thing.
A career in acting tragically missed. Yeah, these guys could be like a part of an acting troupe. It would be a good one or two-man comedy duo. And where were the voices coming from? Could you tell?
Of course we could. From the other side of that door behind the counter it was.
From the storeroom where the victim was found dead.
And the voice you heard,
It was that of the victim, Mr. Winterbank.
on me granny's life. Of course it was.
On his granny's life, of course it was.
So that would mean that you both knew Mr. Winterbank and the sound of his voice.
So that would mean what?
What, Nash? What? Any ideas?
Yes, counsel, indeed it would.
No. We didn't know the geezer.
How am I supposed to deny it when that bloke in the fancy club has given us the evil eye?
If you value your lives, you will ensure your testimony is accurate and true.
On me granny's life it is.
Oh, on his granny's life it must be.
It's a good job his granny's dead. Christ. I'm taking a photo of that one for out of context shit. To summarize, then, immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you then hear the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them over the shop floor.
You make it sound like we're clumsy.
Don't forget we tidied up after like good little boys. Anyway, the way I see it.
Oh, that's new. The bloke what owned the place was holding a gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl.
Hold it!
Right? I'm gonna press this real quick, and then I'm gonna present on it. You're saying that Mr. Winterbank had a gun in his hands?
Oh yeah, bet that was a sight, eh? The two of them waving guns at each other. Must have got pretty heated. I mean, just before he shouted out, we heard the geezer say, "If you don't want to get shot."
Didn't really sound like you meant it, mind. More of an empty threat, you could say.
Mr. Winterbank was known to keep a revolver on his shop counter at all times. People say that to protect the articles in his keeping, he'd readily put a bullet in someone's head if required. That someone being himself, of course.
Good grief! Extraordinary devotion indeed, if alarmingly misguided.
Well, he certainly sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only the person he was gonna shoot beat him to it. Cooked his goose proper.
Bet he wish he'd squeezed the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, "Give me that gun!"
So this makes no sense to me. And it actually kind of proves Gina kind of innocent. Because if they're saying that they were pointing guns at each other, which I don't know how you would have been able to tell when they were in the storeroom on the other side of the door, if they were pointing guns at each other, then him saying, "Give me that gun if you don't want to get hurt," and then being shot in the back, because that's where he was shot and killed. He was shot from behind. So the person that he was pointing his gun at was not the murderer. So if we can prove that that was Gina, then that could help save our case. And it was directly after those words that you heard the gunshot?
It was more or less at the same time, Gov. Give me that gun.
Bam!
Kind of thing.
Yes, career in acting, very tragically missed.
Then we heard the sound of someone hitting the deck. Before everything went dead quiet.
After that, we'd done a slapdash job tidying the place up.
So I'm gonna go ahead. Well, first off, let's just go ahead and do a safety save. You know how I, at the beginning of this playthrough, said that I don't save very often? Well, because I'm Let's Playing now, that's changing real quick. So we want this one, because it shows that she had the revolver and he didn't.
Objection!
Yes, okay, good, we got it. You're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windibank, was wielding a gun, is that correct?
That's it, Gov. You've got the picture.
He has, Nash, he has. No question.
And yet the photographic evidence from the crime scene, or from the time of the incident, clearly shows that Mr. Windibank was not in possession of a firearm of any description.
Objection! You surprise me.
Does the defense really intend to highlight evidence that compromises the position of the accused even more?
Furthermore, the defense has failed to establish that the photographic print presented was taken a suitably short time prior to the victim's death. Your chronology is severely lacking, counsel.
Yeah, that's right.
Too right, Nash, too right. The old geezer could have been about to turn the tables on the girl there.
Hardly likely.
No, I'm afraid this won't stand as conclusive evidence.
Ugh.
Continue with the cross-examination, counsel. And heed my earlier warning, witnesses.
Skulkin's never skulking.
Oh, interesting. So we got one bit there. Huh. I guess we'll continue pressing stuff.
Hold it!
So, you didn't try to open up the storeroom door then?
Not on your life.
It went deathly quiet after that, it did. Put the wind right up me. But anyway, the door was locked, weren't it? No way that was opening.
Yes, of course. It was locked from the inside, or so we've been led to believe.
It was, Gov. It was. From the inside.
Right, so we had no way of knowing what was going on in there, did we?
Unless there was some other way to get a view of inside the storeroom. Like through the keyhole or a spy hole, perhaps?
Don't ring no bells, don't light no lights. We had to cut and run before we noticed anything like that. We're still cutting our teeth in this game, see? But one day, we'll really cut the mustard.
Please, cut it out.
But as we know, behind that door was the victim's lifeless body, with the accused not 2 feet away.
Yes, unfortunately. Gina was in there, unconscious, with the gun in her hand. To confirm, it would be correct to say that neither of you set foot inside the storeroom.
That's right, Gov. That's right. Couldn't have, even if we wanted to.
We stuck everything back where we found it and scuppered straight into him in the...
Hold it!
Yes, whereupon you fired a shot from your own gun at Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Oh, yeah, we was a bit hasty there.
We was, Nash, we was. Truth be told, I was already shaking like a leaf when you lot turned up.
You're shaking like a leaf. If you're shaking like a leaf, don't put a loaded gun in your hand.
Good advice, miss. Good advice.
Truth be told, my mind went totally blank. Before your mind goes totally blank, make sure you don't have a loaded gun in your hand. Mental note made, miss.
After that, we legged it down the street, but apparently we looked dodgy to the coppers or summit, so they clapped the darbies on us like winking. And after you'd been handcuffed, the police found this revolver in your possession, correct? Well, yeah.
But listen, that proves it, doesn't it? Eh? Hold it!
And why should we believe that?
Eh? What? Well, 'cause it's true, isn't it?
The place was totally empty when we went in. At that time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused who had a gun to his head. In other words, on the night in question, these two witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawnbrokery, Mr. Windibank. Correct?
You've got it, mister.
Oh, you've got it, mister.
Down to a T.
So the Skulkin Brothers never actually encountered Mr. Windibank. Is that really true, I wonder? That's it? That's the full extent of their testimony?
What is it, Runo? You look very fierce. I could pour you some herbal tea if you're tired.
Oh, thank you, but I'm fine. Being such a logical thinker, you'll probably laugh, but I feel as though these brothers are still hiding something. Something important. It is nothing more than a feeling, though. I have no proof to support it.
Well, feelings can be very logical at times.
Sorry?
People's expressions, the movements of their eyes, the words they choose. You could take all that in and your brain will quietly analyze it to come up with a feeling like you describe. You've concluded that there's something suspicious about this testimony without knowing why, that's all. I think you should trust your instincts.
Iris, thank you. Sometimes I think if she's 10 years old, I must be 5. Yeah, sometimes she's like that. This is interesting. Not sure what to do, though. So we will figure out exactly what we need to do to get out of this testimony in the next episode. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe, like the video, do all that happy stuff, and help promote me so, you know, these videos get seen by more people, because that would help me out quite a bit. So yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.